Shana Tova. I'm David Topol, President of the Bethel Board of Directors, and it is my honor to speak with you this year on Yom Kippur. In Psalm 33, it says, "The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He frustrates the plans of the people." As is known more simply, man plans and God laughs. That, at least in part, is the story of this past year at Bethel. Last year, I stood before you on Yom Kippur and explained that I would be focused on three things in the coming year: hiring a new executive director, continuing to strengthen our community building and engagement, and looking hard at the need at building renovation to deal with our space constraints. I hope that 2 out of 3 isn't bad. We were fortunate to hire an outstanding executive director in Henry Feller. Henry has hit the ground running and has proven himself to be fully up to the challenges we face at Bethel. And as I will talk about in a few minutes, we continue to work hard on community building and engagement efforts. Our plans for building renovation are on hold, but circumstances pushed us to completely rethink how we use technology to engage with our members. On the physical space front, our building committee made a lot of progress, and we have developed a number of interesting and important ideas. While for obvious reasons those plans and the project are on hold while we focus on COVID, I believe the work that was done will provide a good foundation when we are ready to turn back to the issue, hopefully in a few years. This past year was really split in two: what happened before Purim and what happened after Purim. In fact, I wonder if I had done a survey on March 1st, shortly before Purim, and this room were full, and I had asked everybody to raise their hands if they were familiar with Zoom and how to use the technology, I suspect that very few hands would have gone up. Now I suspect every single hand would go up. In the first half of the year, we were what Bethel has been for many years: a bustling, busy congregation with activities going 7 days a week in our building. Our preschool and religious school were full. We were running many services, from traditional to meditation to singing to lay-led. We were holding adult education classes. Affinity groups, men's clubs, sisterhood, and Zahava were meeting in person at Bethel and in our broader community. We continued to engage in Tikkun Olam initiatives, and we socialized and gathered informally in each other's houses, at restaurants, and at ball games with our other Bethel friends who we become close to through all these other activities. On Purim, we had a packed service in the main sanctuary for the musical Purim celebration, and in the chapel for the traditional Megillah reading. And then Corona hit, and by the Shabbat after Purim, our building was closed. To be clear, Bethel has not closed and is not closing, but our building has been largely closed. I still remember back in March when Rabbi Harris and I were speaking every day about the plans we would have for reopening when our community as a whole would certainly reopen in 6 to 8 weeks. What we did not know then. Looking back on the second half of the year, we have worked hard as a board and as professionals and clergy to keep Bethel open and thriving, even as our building was closed. Our services in schools switched to online. B'nai Mitzvot returned to the sanctuary, albeit with limited attendance and masks. Skolnick Institute, meditation minions, and classes have continued, as we have all mastered Zoom. And for those who had trouble with Zoom, we had countless training sessions to teach people the basics of mute, gallery view, and leave meeting. So what does the future hold for the next 12 months, and what are we thinking about and planning? I wish I knew for sure that the pandemic would be over soon. Unfortunately, I don't, and we are currently planning for this virtual world to exist for some time, and doing so has its challenges. Bethel is a community. People come to Bethel to engage in Jewish activities with other people and to develop connections. While it is more difficult in a remote environment, it is also more imperative than ever. I promise you that every member of Bethel's clergy, staff, and board is 100% committed to maximizing our program and activity for the coming year. COVID is not an excuse to do less. It is a reason to do more, to do it differently and to realize the challenges we face. Last weekend on Rosh Hashanah, I hope you saw these creative efforts in the quality of our stream services and in our neighborhood shofar blowing. This past week, our board of directors met, and the focus of our board meeting was how do we continue to build community and support engagement in the COVID era. We are also looking for ways to create safe outdoor gatherings in careful consultation with the medical professionals on our COVID task force. There are a lot of great plans and activities in the works. Continue to watch for them. We also appreciate and recognize that while many members find Bethel to be warm and engaging, some believe it can be difficult at times to find points of connection. We hear and appreciate that feedback and will continue to work hard through the concierge program and other efforts to engage in proactive outreach to our members. We are also committed to supporting people in need within our Bethel community and the broader community. We have worked to stay in regular communications with our senior citizens and people within Bethel who need extra support. And we will continue to engage in Tikkun Olam in the broader community to support blood drives, food drives, and other important projects. We also, unfortunately, face financial challenges. Our preschool and religious school leaders have done an outstanding job of transitioning to remote education and making it as effective and as attractive as possible in the COVID era. But enrollment has unavoidably dropped, and our expected revenue may fall short in various areas. Realistically, it may take a few years for enrollment to bounce back to where it was pre-COVID. We also did not increase dues this year, recognizing the financial hardship many of our members have faced. After many years of balanced budgets, we will be facing a sizable budget deficit this year as a result of the COVID impacts. The lay leadership is looking carefully at what we can do to address those impacts while minimizing any adverse effects on Bethel's future. The preschool and religious schools are important parts of our community and important sources of new members. We must enable them to be in a position of strength when COVID abates. And we must continue to do the work and programming to remain relevant for all of our members. Fortunately, we have a strong balance sheet. Thanks to the generosity of Lucy Ozerin, our mortgage is paid off. With help from the federal PPP loan program, we have been able to minimize adverse effects on our employees. And our financial reserves provide us with a solid financial foundation to make it through a difficult time. We are now starting our annual campaign. Last year, we raised more than $1 million through the generosity of so many of our members. I thank you for your support. It is critical to allowing Bethel to continue all we do to thrive as an institution and to build community. Already this year, 100% of our board and development committee have made pledges to the Bethel annual campaign. And many have joined my wife, Stacy, and me in increasing our gifts by at least 10% from the prior year in recognition of the current challenges Bethel faces. I hope you will join us and support the annual campaign this year. And if your financial circumstances allow, consider increasing your gift. We depend on your support now more than ever. I want to close with thank yous. In the past 6 months, I have been blown away by the dedication and talent within our community. Thank you to Rabbi Harris, Rabbi Werbin, and Chazan Fradkin for the time and effort you have put into supporting our community and reimagining almost every aspect of services. Thank you to Sheila Bellick and then to Henry Feller for your 24/7 dedication to the position of Executive Director during this time. Thank you to Kim Lawson and Alicia Frumkin for your commitment to the preschool religious school and efforts to learn a new way to teach. Thank you to every member of the Bethel staff and faculty who have been working tirelessly over the past 6 months to ensure that things are operating as smoothly as you have mastered new technologies and skills. Thank you to every one of our lay leaders, from the officers to the board members to the minion leaders to our committee members. So many of you have put in so much more time than ever to help Bethel this year. Finally, and most importantly, thank you to every member of our congregation for participating in Yom Kippur services and for being part of Bethel. In the end, we have always been, and I hope we will always be, a bottoms-up community. It is the collective effort of every one of us that makes Bethel what it is today, a strong, dynamic, and relevant community. That is why I am proud to be Bethel's president. Gamar Chatima Tova.